Today is the last day of Autism Awareness Month, and to celebrate the end of Autism Awareness Month, we're going to be reacting to Trevor Carroll's most popular video, Living with Autism Level 1, My Real Experience. This has been uploaded 3 weeks ago and has a total of 243,000 views. And those who don't know Trevor Carroll, he is a late diagnostic autistic person, and he also talks about his autism experiences, his own struggles and accommodations, and even facts about his own autism. And not only does he talk about autism, but he also talks about nature, mental health videos, and also he talks about fitness as to what he does on his channel. Now, I've been watching some of his videos, and they were at least very informative, and they are pretty successful. So I pretty much can heavily resonate with some of the points that he has talked about from the ones that I have experienced in the past while I'm living with my autism condition. So yeah, let's go ahead and react to this video right here, Living with Autism Level 1. By the way, if you have not subscribed to Trevor Carroll, you should do that right now. I'll put his YouTube channel in the description box below, as well as his social media links. So please go subscribe to his channel, follow his social media, and yeah, let's go ahead and do that. It's worth mentioning that this video is going to take almost an hour, so you might want to grab something to drink or some food and get a chair, because we are going to do a long reaction video on this specific video that I'm going to watch. So let's go ahead and let's react.
A lot of
let's go back to the beginning, because I was like doing a test recording. And we'll enable captions. And yeah, let's go ahead and react to this video. If I can.
I was diagnosed with ASD Level 1, which means that compared to other people on the autism spectrum, I have lower support needs. And compared to like Autistic or neurotypical people, I have substantially more support needs. And I've seen like a lot of conversation online recently where people who may not fully understand what low support needs autism looks like, or they might not understand like exactly what it means. And I will be honest, I've seen a lot of this coming from parents of higher support needs autistic children. Not only those people, but I've seen a lot of this conversation coming from them, where, to sum it up, they're saying that like level or ASD Level 1 or lower support needs autism, it shouldn't be in the same category as autism, or that it's not real autism, or that
Okay, so I will stop him from at this point. So many people that are unaware of the autism spectrum, or those families that have higher support, or those parents that have higher support needs children, they think that ASD Level 1 is not a real autism. Like most people really think of that, when in reality the true fact about this is that it is actually a real autism. ASD Level 1 is a real autism, and ASD Level 1 means we have lower support needs, and it means at times where we may need help at certain points of our lives, but but for the majority of it, we don't actually need help in some certain things. We can most likely go to college on our own, get a job on our own, or even own a home on our own. And it is pretty much pretty crazy that that ASD level 1 autistic people are pretty much on their own or living independently, and so that is one of the good aspects of ASD level 1 is that they can really be independent on their own. They might not ask for help when they need it, and so yeah, that's basically like the general definition of ASD level 1 autism.
It shouldn't be considered a disability, and it's kind of hard because I can try to see like all the perspectives in this, and I can see that like, okay, I can see where they're coming from, but at the same time, the place that they're coming from isn't based in facts. It's not based in reality, and I think it's just their own view, or should I add their own ableist view of what level 1 autism actually looks like. And the truth is that there isn't one specific look to ASD level 1, just as there isn't one specific look to anyone on the autism spectrum. And we're all different. And in this video today, I wanted to kind of talk about how ASD level 1 presents for me. Before I go any further, I want to start by saying that this is not to be used as a diagnostic tool. Obviously, I'm not a medical professional. I'm just an autistic person talking about my experience and sharing the things that I've learned about myself and how it relates to autism. This is for informational purposes only. And if you relate to some of these things, it doesn't necessarily mean you're autistic. And if you don't relate to these things, it doesn't mean that you're not autistic. This is literally just me sharing about my experience and what I've learned about myself and how the challenges that I have in this life relates to my diagnosis of autism spectrum level 1.
So as he's about to talk his ASD level 1 real life experiences, there are going to be some points that he talks about where I currently relate to him as me having to be diagnosed with autism since childhood. I can pretty much remember my own past experiences of a lot of these points that he's about to say in this video. So I may stop at certain points where there are some things that I can relate to. As far as I know from my past experiences of my autism condition. So let's go ahead and continue and let's hear what he has to say.
And I want to make this video in an effort to just kind of like educate people that a lot of the disabling aspects of my autism, and I think for a lot of lower support needs and or high masking autistic folks, aren't necessarily visible from someone looking on the outside in, especially strangers who might not really know that person fully, especially people on the internet who see one video and are super dismissive and super ableist and super just like judgmental and not being able to see the full picture clearly.
So that what he said right there is true. So if I have autism and they won't be able to see, like, the people that are around me, they won't see that I have autism until like I can be able to like to be able to unmask myself and say to other people that I have this autism condition. And what's really challenging is that a lot of those autistic people, they really just want to mask themselves. And that goes for a lot of ASD Level 1 people. They want to fully mask themselves, whether that be in public or online. Like they want to be like very discreet about it. Like they really don't want to share their autism, or like they don't want to tell that they are autistic. Like because they're like really so afraid that they're going to be discriminated or even be left out of the picture. So yeah, that is pretty much why we only see for our internal selves that we have autism, but for the other people around, they don't see it unless we actually tell them in person, or like if we like tell them online, which we don't have to in those certain situations unless we feel comfortable. So let's go ahead and continue.
So let's just go ahead and get started. Oh, and another thing too is that this is not an exhaustive list. There's so many different things that make me autistic, and that I realize now that I'm like, oh, that has to do with my autism. I'm the way that I am in this way because of my autism. But these are just kind of the main things. And I actually did make let me pull it up. I made an Instagram infographic about this. And so if you want to see it more visually written out, I definitely recommend going to my Instagram and looking at that infographic. So let's just go ahead and get started. The first thing on my list is challenges with socializing. I find socializing to be not just like foreign to me, but also like really exhausting for me. I don't get much out of socializing. I don't get that like fulfilled feeling from socializing that I think a lot of very extroverted and definitely that some neurotypical people get from socializing. I find it to be awkward. I find that I have to use a lot of brain power that I might not necessarily have. I find that it's hard for me to socialize if I don't see a point to it. And a lot of times I don't. And I'll be honest, I find that for me, in order to like do something social, there has to be like some sort of net benefit that comes out of that social interaction. And that doesn't mean that I have to personally benefit from that social interaction.
There has to be something interesting in the topic.
Something accomplished from that social interaction, whether it is like a business social interaction, or maybe it's like seeing a family member I haven't seen in a while, or maybe it is like actually having a really deep conversation with someone. Those are just some examples where I'm like, yeah, I would want to partake in that social interaction. But if it's just like socializing just to be social, just to like go have fun, like I don't find that fun. I don't find that entertaining. And I actually find it to be really exhausting. And when I socialize, like I said, it requires a lot of brain power and effort and energy that a lot of times I just don't have. And so afterwards, I will feel like really drained and really tired and just like fatigued. And
yes, that's actually very true right here. So when I do socialize with other people, there has to be something interesting that I'm talking about with another person, whether that might be like a business meeting, or like having a deep conversation with someone, or having to talk with a family member. Those are some of the things that makes a conversation very more interesting to me, and I feel that that he can pretty much like can understand from his own view. And if there's nothing interesting like going on in the conversation, like it pretty much like dies out. You know what I mean? And when I'm having to like put in a lot more effort in terms of like socialization, having to like be like the only person that has to like talk a lot. As he says, like I feel that I am like very exhausted and like tired, and felt really drained that that I am pretty much like talking like for an extensive amount of hours, because I felt like I am putting in a lot more effort into the conversations that I've had with other people. And so yeah, that is one of the things about having to socialize. It's I think it's like pretty hard for me as an autistic person to even be able to have deeper conversations, or having to like have a conversation on like a specific topic, or like again, whether that be a business meeting or like a school meeting, or having like a deeper conversation with like one singular topic. So yeah. Let's go ahead and continue on with the video.
In the past, I wouldn't really know like why I was so tired for days after doing something social, and I realize it now. The other thing with socializing is it just like it's not an enjoyable thing for me, and I don't know how to say that any other way. There are, like I said, some occasions where I would find it enjoyable if it's like actually having a deep conversation, or getting to know someone on a deeper level. But just like the way that I feel like socializing is in this society, I don't want anything to do with it. And it's really hard to describe like why it is so exhausting. I think part of it is the sensory challenges, especially if it's in like a overstimulating environment. It's hard to process what the other person is saying.
So with sensory overload, it's pretty much harder to have these conversations. For example, like this noise like in the background where I'm currently like facing, you can pretty much almost hear, or you can pretty much hear like the cars just passing by. So I have no control over it. I have like a noise gate on my microphone here, and I try to really like filter out some of the noise, but the truth is that it only like filters out like at least like 40% or like 50% of the noise that is coming from outside, because right now I'm currently staying at my dad's home in the Philippines, and where I'm at, I pretty much am staying on a busy road here. So that is an example right here. So when I'm having to have a conversation with you, even if it's in a busy street, even if there's something that is going on in the background, and it is really repetitive, like I am not able to have this long conversation with you. I can very much like cannot hear what the other person is saying. I might say some like I might like agree with you on like the things that you say, but like the truth is that it's pretty much harder to like what is it, transcribe what they are saying, when we're having like a group conversation or like a one-on-one conversation, like those sensory like overload things are, are are pretty much like hindering our conversations, and so that's one of the things about socializing. So let's go ahead and continue on.
It's hard to like understand what they mean if there's like things that are left unsaid. So yeah, like socializing is hard for me, and I can put on a mask and I can like smile and like be like, oh yeah, ha ha ha, ha. But like that's fake, and that's hard, and that kind of leads me to the next way that autism spectrum disorder level 1 presents for me, and that is that I have masked a lot of my life. Masking means like I camouflage the different parts about me to try to fit in, and I think I did a lot of this subconsciously when I was younger, because I kind of like internalized the fact that I'm different, being different is bad, you're not supposed to be different. And I literally would watch YouTube videos and movies, and I'd listen to podcasts, not for entertainment, not for education, but with the sole purpose of trying to understand how to have a like normal conversation.
And me, I don't really watch these type of videos, just so you know.
And I guess that's one form of masking. And masking is really exhausting because you're putting on this front. Your brain always has to be on, and you have to constantly push aside your natural tendencies and the authentic way that you are to almost like put on an act. That's what it is. It's putting on an act to try to like pretend that you're neurotypical. And I did a lot of this without even realizing it when I was younger. And I attribute a lot of like my burnout and the depression that I had as a teenager and the self-esteem issues that I had to masking. Now that I understand my autism better, I feel like I do definitely mask less. But sometimes it just happens out of habit or like out of a need to like feel safe in certain situations that are new for me.
Now, from my own experience, I've pretty much masked less as of now. Like I've been in like into communities where I felt safe and felt the need to unmask myself and tell everyone that I have autism. That is online. Now, in public and in person, like I've been pretty much been masking myself. I've been pretty much have been like have been acting like a normal guy, just like walking around, and there are some situations where I don't really feel the need to like to tell my autism because like the comfortability like around like so yeah, I've most of the times I may have to mask myself as I'm pretty much like unaware of these certain situations in which people will not be able to like accept like my own type of my own behavior, and there are like pretty much times where I've pretty much like went up to like someone in person, and I just told them that I have autism, and they were really okay with it. So I can pretty much can understand from Trevor Carroll's view that his masking situation has has been becoming more and more less now. And for me, in my own experience, I have not experienced masking a lot in person. I pretty much like I think I've masked most of my time in my past experiences, especially like in college, or whether that might be going to another IRL place, or even like in high school. I felt that I've been masking a lot throughout my high school years. Um, so, so yeah, now that I'm a full-grown adult, I can pretty much like become like more or less masking. Like I can pretty much like tell anyone that I have like that autism doesn't really change the way that they behave, the way they act. So yeah, let's go ahead and let's continue.
Um, 'Cause, like, I'll be honest, like sometimes in like a new setting where I don't understand the people, I don't understand, um, like I guess I'm not like used to the new environment. It sometimes feels safer to mask just to like try to get by. But then again, just as with socializing, it leads to this like really incredible amount of fatigue and exhaustion. Um, so just because like I can mask and I can, I guess, like sort of pretend I'm not autistic to an extent, which I kind of realized I wasn't ever really good at that. Just because I can do that to a point, it doesn't mean that I should. It doesn't mean that it's good for me. And there's like a huge mental toll and mental health toll that masking takes on an autistic person, and I definitely know that firsthand. Um, the next way that um, being a low support needs autistic person presents for me is having sensory challenges. I find that like my biggest sensory trigger is smell. I've always been overwhelmed by smells for like literally as long as I can remember. Like my mom would put on lotion in the car, and I would get really irritable and really cranky, and I didn't know why. It's because I was overstimulated. I can't stand a lot of smells, even if they're like super faint. They're really distracting. They overwhelm my senses. It's the only thing I can focus on if there's a smell in the environment that I don't like. Um, and if I'm already having like a rough day, it could definitely send me over the edge. It could push me to having a shutdown where I can't speak, where I lay frozen on the floor. Um, some other sensory challenges for me are um, different types of lighting, like bright LED or fluorescent lights, especially like overhead lights, like in office spaces or grocery stores or like even like doctors' offices. I hate it. I can't stand it. Not only does it like feel like I'm getting a headache, it it's it's super distracting, and I would even go to say that a lot of the discomfort from these different uh, from sensory overload from these different things is it's actually like quite painful, not just in my body but like in my brain too, and it's hard to describe. And it's not just like a cute little quirky like, oh, I'm overstimulated, ha ha ha. It's like, no, I'm overstimulated. I can't think straight. I feel extremely irritable. um, I might have a shutdown any second now. uh, I also have issues with certain like fabrics or textures. Soft touch, can't stand soft touch. I feel like those are like my main sensory triggers. And definitely sounds like background ambient sound. It really makes it hard to like decipher if I'm having a conversation, like what that person is saying. It's hard to like make out their voice from all the other sounds.
So that's what I am saying. Like, I have this like sensory challenge in which I am like when I'm having to have a conversation with one-on-one or like within a group. Um, there's going to be like a lot of these challenges where there is a lot of noise like in the back, as y'all guys have heard. Maybe a little bit, but like probably from outside of like my dad's home. There's going to be challenges where there is like high noise in the background, and I can't really decipher what is going on from their conversation, and it makes it really hard to really understand and like comprehend and have like the full context of what that person is trying to say. So it is becoming like really hard to even be like in these situations where I'm like in a room full of people, or like in an outside world full of like busy life, such as like cars running by, or if there's like police activity going on. Yeah, it's really hard to decipher. It's really hard to make out a conversation from another person. So that is one of my sensory challenges when it comes to like my own experiences. And yes, I have experienced that in the past, and many other times before, where I cannot even make out a conversation if there's like a lot of noise in the background, or there's like one certain sound where like is really irritable. So yeah. Also, let me turn on the lights in the back because I feel that is really dark here. So let me turn it on. There you go. Let's go ahead and continue on with this video because he has a lot more of what he has to say.
And then like sudden loud sounds. One thing that like really sets me off is in grocery stores when you like pull the cart out of like where all the carts are like stacked up, and then like the little flap comes down and it hits really loud. I hate that. I always like pull it out really soft to like put my hand there to like let it fall really slowly. So like any sudden loud sound, we live on a street that usually actually doesn't bother me like the regular traffic noise, but when like a loud truck or a motorcycle goes by, I can't stand that either. Or like when my dog, when he hears a sound and he starts barking. So like sudden loud sounds is another thing. And I feel like those are like the main sensory triggers for me. Of course, there's like some other ones, but those are like the main ones that I can't stand them. And like I said, like these sensory issues, it's not just like a little bit annoying. It's not just like, oh, I can try to like distract myself from it. No, it takes over my body in this way that is like really uncomfortable and really painful, and it can make it hard to be in certain environments. It can make it hard to like even like just go out into the world sometimes. And I've learned to use certain accommodations for these things, and those definitely help. But without those accommodations, like I wouldn't be able to do it. Then there's like the other side of it.
So yes, especially like with all these sensory overload, with all these sensory challenges, like we feel like you're like we feel like a lot of pain like inside of ourselves, like we are able to feel it inside because of these overstimulating loud sounds that I am able to hear from outside of my dad's home, or like the uncomfortable sound on my left. So so yeah, it is becoming like really hard for me to really experience these 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 loud and busy sounds that I have been experiencing, and it's really hard for a lot of these autistic people, and it's also very challenging for them. It's not like some way to distract yourself, as to what he said, but yeah, it is really hard for me personally to have these sensory challenge um, for uh, for me personally, coming from my past experience. And so yeah, let's go ahead and continue.
Where, because I am so sensory sensitive, I also experience this thing called sensory joy. The only way I could describe this is like a full body ecstatic experience. Some of the things that help me experience the sensory joy are like watching a river or a stream flow, or even like watching waves crash on the shore. I could sit and stare at moving water for hours and not get bored of it. Even like listening to music, it's like a full body brain and body massage. I think part of that too is also like I experience synesthesia, where it's kind of like my senses are mixed. Like when I listen to music, I can see the music in colors and patterns and shapes. Kind of going along with synesthesia also, like days of the week, they've got a color to them. Numbers, they've got a color to them. Months of the year, they've got a color to them. Like I think it's kind of like how my brain processes like this information and like organizes it. So
So yes, I for me personally, I like some EDM music, or like some electronic music, and that helps me soothe my brain even more. I like listening to those a lot of those beats, and a lot of those some fire remixes of songs, and so that's what makes me happy, and having this sensory joy. So.
those are like kind of like the cool aspects of the sensory sensitivities, but don't get me wrong, a lot of the time it's really overwhelming. So the next thing on my list is I have a very rigid thinking style. I would describe myself as an extremely rigid person. And I always thought growing up, before I knew I was autistic, I always thought this was like OCD. And there's definitely like some obsessive tendencies there, but it's not all the way OCD. And the fact that there's not always like compulsions, it's more just like really obsessive rumination and perseveration. My brain often gets stuck on certain things. And it could be like the things that make me anxious that it would get stuck on. But it also gets stuck on like the more positive things, like the things that I'm interested in. My brain gets stuck on if there's like a change, it gets stuck on that. If there's like something that I see that like feels like morally wrong, it will get stuck on that too. It gets stuck a lot, and it's hard to describe like this feeling of being stuck, other than it's like my brain is focused on one thing only, and no matter what I do, I can't get off that topic.
So yes, like if I'm like focused on one specific topic, if I'm focused on like one specific task, I cannot even like leave that task. Like I literally have to be stuck on something that is like specific. Like even if someone tells me to do another task, like I can't literally do another task unless I finish what I'm doing. So that I can probably relate to my autism condition. So
No matter how hard I try. Um, this is also hard because, like, we all know that the world is always changing. It's a fact of life. Everything is always changing. And I have a hard time with change. I usually do like the same things every single day. I pretty much do the same routine every single day because it helps me feel grounded and regulated, and it helps me just feel like safe in this world where things are always changing. And so when there's any sort of like deviation from my routine, or when there's something that happens that disrupts my routine, it's really hard for me, and it feels like my nervous system like is about to explode.
so while I do like the regular while I like doing like the same daily routine, it often gets like really tiring in my own experiences whenever I do like wake up and having to like go to school every day. Um, it tends to be like very more tiring in my own opinion, and a lot of like autistics can have like pretty much their own view about this. But like me personally, like having to do like a daily routine every single day is totally fine for me. But at some points, it may get like a little bit tiring as the weeks go by. So that's just from my own experience.
I also have a hard time like changing my mind about things. I think that this rigidity shows up in like all areas of my life, whether it is like routine, in my routine, or whether it's like my interests. I have very limited amount of interests, but I'm super passionate about those interests. And I don't think in itself it's necessarily like a bad thing, but I think just the fact that the world that we live in, like I said, is always changing and it's always evolving, and that's what makes it hard, because even though my brain wants everything to like stay in this perfect form, this perfect structure all the time, it can't, it doesn't, and it never will. So I've definitely learned like coping strategies to like try to help this, but at the end of the day, like I also have to accept the fact that this is just the way that my brain works, and acceptance is a huge piece of that. Like accepting the fact that it will be overwhelming when there's a big change, as opposed to like trying to change the fact that my brain works this way, because I can't do that. And so I mentioned like limited interests. I feel like someone who doesn't really get it would look in on my life and think that my life is super boring, because like I said, I do the same things every day, and I'm not interested in a lot of things. But the things that I am interested in, it's like my whole world. And we've heard these called like special interests. And I would say these things are like weather. I love weather. I love storms. I love clouds. I love rain. I love snow. And this kind of goes along with nature as well. The second one would be the gym and fitness and weightlifting. I've been so passionate about that, like literally ever since I was a child. And then the last special interest that I would describe myself as having is music. Especially when I was younger. Now I love music a lot, and I love it so much. I don't really have like the time to do as much with it, but like when I was younger, I would DJ, I would make my own music. I would, this is kind of funny. I would listen to.
So I want to talk about my own special interests. Totally like different from what he has right now. So for my own special interests, as you guys all know that I am like I'm like a content creator in the making. Like I am pretty much I'm pretty much a content creator, providing you with these videos, and not only that, but I also do but I am also like a gamer, and I also do like I do make my own graphics. That's why you pretty much see this border here. That is the one that I made on my own. I used like a blue gradient for the border, and for this own like webcam that you see like on the left hand side. I mean, like my camera is like pretty much like flipped the other way around, but yeah, I pretty much made this border on my own, and that's why, and probably like a lot of the thumbnails that you're seeing right now is that because I have like a special interest in graphic design. I pretty much have had what is it? Graphic design classes in high school before, and even like probably in one class in college where I had to learn a lot about beginning graphic design. And so now that I have like learned a lot about graphic design from my past, I can pretty much apply that to like some other like free graphic design software. For example, Canva. That is also like a graphic design program for free. So yeah, I have like my own special interest in like graphic design. I'm not really good at the other types of art out there, but yeah, my own special interest is graphic design. Also gamer. I pretty much like do casual gaming, and pretty much I do try to play like a lot of variety titles, including those that I've never played before. So yeah, that is also one of my special interests as well. So yeah, let's go ahead and continue with this video. I don't know if you can pretty much see my face or the camera right over here, because it's like really dark from where I am, so I'm not sure if you'll be able to see that. But anyways, yeah, I'll just pretty much like keep it in this specific video. Even, whether you can see me or not, I cannot really see it because I'm like pretty much like recording on one monitor, and like not from the other monitor, so I'm only like focused on one monitor. So so yeah, hopefully you can see me with my reactions there. So hopefully you can like pretty much see me or something. So Regardless, let's go ahead and continue.
To the radio, I have like this very vivid memory of me listening to the radio, and I would have a binder full of different pages, and after every song that they would play, I'd write it down. I could do that for hours, and then I would go and like download that music, and then I would like pretend to be like have a radio station. For actually a long time in my childhood, I wanted to be a radio DJ because I loved music so much, and I loved like playing different songs and finding different music. And I also have this other vivid memory of like people, they would ask me, they would like quiz me on different songs. Like they'd play a song and I'd be like, oh yeah, this is artist and title, and the next song artist and title, and I could go on and on and on and on without missing any of them. So yeah, those are the three things that definitely like bring me a lot of joy in my life. And other than those things, like there's not much else that I'm like interested in. And I guess kind of like a difference between special interests and like a hobby.
Also, I forgot to mention about my special interests. Sorry. Is that I'm like really interested in cinematography and video editing as well. So I've been taking like some major classes in college where it relates to film and television. So I've done beginning audio production. I've pretty much watched a lot of documentary films in my class, as well as learning the basics of video production. So yeah, that is also one of my special interests. Probably in the future, when I do have a career job in film and television, I would probably want to be in. I would either want to be a cinematographer or a professional video editor that heavily utilizes Adobe Premiere Pro or like any other top tier editing software that they have. So yeah, that is also one of my special interests there.
Hobby that like a neurotypical person would have is like I think about these things all the time. There's not a point in my day where I'm not thinking about weather or storms or nature, the gym or fitness or lifting, or like music, or like a new song that's coming out, or a song that I've been like hyper fixated on. I'm always thinking about one of those three things, like all the time. And kind of going back to like my rigid thinking style, my brain does get stuck on these things as well, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. The part where it does get a little challenging is like when there are other tasks that need to be done, when there are things that require me to put my attention there as opposed to here, and transitioning into those things is also really hard. That's one thing that I also missed with the rigid thinking style and need for routine, is because I do get like so hyper fixated on things. Transitioning is really hard. Switching tasks is really hard, and I guess that kind of goes
That
along with
one
the
I
next
have
thing
difficulty
my
on.
list, which is like executive functioning challenges. So I'll just kind of go into that. Executive functioning is like going about those like just like daily tasks, doing the things that we need to do in order to survive, in order to just get by day to day. Has to do a lot with like organizing and planning and time management, initiating tasks, getting things done, things like that. And this one's kind of interesting for me because I have sort of like subconsciously, without even, or I guess unconsciously, without even thinking about it, been able to overcome a lot of my executive functioning challenges. Like, for example, I make a list. I love lists. instead of like using a calendar for my everyday things, which I use a calendar for like my appointments and different things going on each day, but like on a much smaller scale each day on my notes app on my phone, I call it my organization list, and I have like Monday, and then I have everything that I'm doing that day listed with a bullet point. So I could check it off as I go. And Tuesday, check it off as I go.
One of the ways that
And this
y'all can
really
stay
helps
organized.
me stay organized. It helps me like follow a structure, which I really like. And like each little check mark gives this just like little boost of dopamine every time I get something accomplished. So it's kind of like I have almost set up my life in a way to like overcome a lot of these a lot of these executive functioning challenges. So here's where I do have executive functioning challenges. If I'm already like at capacity, if I was in an overstimulating environment, or if I was socializing and I didn't have the capacity to socialize, I feel like probably like 80 or 90% of the time, the following day after that thing, or even that night, or whenever that thing happened, afterwards, I have such a hard time initiating tasks. And it's not that I lack the motivation, it's not that I lack the willpower, it's like I literally lose the ability to do certain things. And it's like there's like this thought and this like motivation in my mind, like, okay, I need to get out of bed, and I'll just say I need to get out of bed and I need to go brush my teeth, right? And it's like the thought is there, and then there's a missing link between the thought and then the ability to be able to like get my body to like actually get up, walk over here and do this task. And I want to make that distinction that it is not always a choice. And I think that people who don't struggle with this won't understand. They'll be like, just do it. like,
And yes, I always tell myself to just do this one. Just pretty much go eat breakfast. Like go take a shower. I feel that with myself, me personally, I've been pretty much like tired from these days, where I pretty much wake up in the morning and just literally lay in my bed, and having this thought of having to go down to grab some breakfast and like take a shower has pretty much pretty much this thought in my head that like I'm going to do that, but right now I'm just feeling more tired and felt that I need to rest in bed a little bit more. Hopefully you'll understand what I'm saying. So.
It's not that hard, but what people don't understand is it's like there's literally like something missing, and I wish I knew like sort of like the neuroscience behind this. It'd be really interesting, and I might actually look that up later because I'm curious about that. Like why can I have like this thought to do this thing, and then there's like absolutely no way I can get my body to go do this thing. And so that's what makes it hard on those days where I'm already at capacity, where my brain has like no power to do these things. Luckily, the way I've set up my life and with my lifestyle, it doesn't happen that often. But there are days where certain things that should be like really easy are incredibly challenging, if not impossible. I've kind of been able to prepare beforehand for these things by taking no demand days or like rest days where I have nothing on the agenda, where I could just flow with what I need to do that day. Sometimes it is staying in bed all day. Sometimes
Me,
it
I
is
do
letting
that.
myself just like fully indulge in my special interests. And that really helps to work as like a preventative, but sometimes those days do creep up on me. And this kind of goes back to like the acceptance piece, where in the past I would be so hard on myself. I would try to push through it, which only led to me having a prolonged period of that, the overwhelm, that the challenges with executive functioning, where now if I'm having one of those days, I feel like I'm able to realize like, okay, there's nothing I could do about this right now. Nearly everything on my to-do list, it can wait at least a day, and so I'm just going to try my best today, and if my best is literally laying in bed all day, then that's all I can do. So that's how like executive functioning challenges present for me. When it comes to like time management, I also
Here he talks about
because
that
of the
time
way I
management.
structure my day, I feel like I have a pretty good time, or a pretty easy time with time management. But then again, like if I'm not in my routine, if I don't have the structure that I usually have, that's when things also get really challenging for me, because it's different, it's new. Because going back to like my rigid brain, it's not what I'm used to, and so I don't know what to expect, and it's just like everything just feels chaotic when that happens.
And so yes, if I don't have like a set schedule, if I don't have a set routine that I'm used to every single day, and if there's something in the schedule that actually changes, then I might feel that I might feel very irritated. I might feel that I might I don't know. I might feel like, yeah, might feel very irritable if there's something in like the schedule, if there's something in the routine that has to be changed, that has already been fixed, you know. So yeah, that's what annoys me the most when it comes to that.
Okay. Whew, this is a lot of talking, and this is a really long video, so if you're still watching, thank you. And my shirt keeps falling down because this microphone is really heavy, and it's really uncomfortable when it hangs down.
And
like
I'm
that.
still
So
watching
that's
this and pretty much reacting to this video,
We're
so
almost
I'm
done
really
here.
enjoying
The
with what
next
he is
thing
saying.
is delayed processing. This shows up in a few different ways. It could show up in like social conversations. If someone says something, it sometimes takes me a few seconds to respond, and even then my response might not be fully thought out, because there's often times where it takes me at least a day, maybe a week, maybe even months to like fully process something that happened in a social conversation.
So yes, in a lot of these social conversations where I have experience in the past, there may be times where I have like a delay processing, where I fully don't understand what the context is in the conversation until like several days or like weeks later. I start to like remember the conversation, and I'm just having the thought of like, oh, now I remember. Now I fully understand what this other person is saying. You get what I mean, guys? So I think that's what he's trying to like really explain, that with delay processing, you don't really comprehend like the full text. You don't really comprehend the full conversation until like weeks later, or like maybe even days later, that you now understand what the conversation meant, or what the person was actually trying to say. And so I think that might have had I think in my past experience that has happened in times where I've had this conversation with a friend, and I pretty much had this conversation about their days, and there was something interesting in the conversation where I fully didn't understand what he was talking about. He was pretty much talking. I want to say that he was pretty much talking about some other stuff that he's talking about. I I pretty much cannot remember at the top of my head, but he said some things where I cannot literally comprehend, or like he really or I don't know like the context of what he's trying to say until like several days later. I've pretty much understood what he's saying, and that clicked in the thought of my brain there. So that's how delayed processing works.
Where I realize, oh, okay, that's what that person meant. Not my initial thought of what they meant. Like after thinking about it and processing it, I can be like, oh, okay, that's what they meant. And like, why did I respond that way? I should have responded in a different way.
Yeah, so my initial thought of having to say to that person, when like in reality, like having to understand fully of the conversation, I now know what they meant, and realizing that as myself, I should have responded in like in a more formal way, or like in a different way than I'm used to initially have like a conversation, like so yeah, that's delayed processing there. That's another point of delayed processing.
Especially if it's more like a more challenging conversation or a more difficult conversation. I also have delayed processing when it comes to my emotions. Like I experience emotions to an extreme degree. This goes back to me like being really sensitive with things. But it's often hard to like figure out what my body is telling me based on the emotion, and trying to like put words to it, and trying to figure out like what the emotion actually is. And a lot of times this will take weeks or months to like fully process an emotion.
I think that's what I've also experienced as well, where like my emotions are delayed, and that I may feel like I feel that I may feel like feel 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 something that is very depressing or something like that. Um, I may also I think I may also feel that delayed processing of emotions there. From what I can remember from my past experiences of living with autism. So,
And this makes it hard because like I think this also like relates to like my brain getting stuck on certain things. Like this makes it hard because we live in such a fast-paced society where there's often not room for pauses and processing. And it makes it hard because I get stuck on these like really heavy and challenging emotions, and I sometimes have a hard way like finding my way through them. And I'm learning that it's okay if I can't like necessarily put to words what I'm feeling, or if I can't like fully identify what I'm feeling. But if I can just like try to like sit with that feeling, like whatever that bodily sensation is, like let's say like there's some pent up anger. I feel anger like right here, and it feels hot and it feels like fiery, And instead of like being able to like try to identify, this is anger, this is why I feel angry, this is what I should do about it, instead just like sitting with that feeling, even though it's really hard, I find that a lot of times the emotions just want to be felt as opposed to like thought through.
Yeah, so I feel that my emotions want to be more like be felt like more like inside of me instead of like having like having these thoughts of like emotions there.
Um, so that's one way that helps me with that. I'm not sure if that's helpful for you. Okay, we're almost done. The next thing is like stimming. Stimming is like a way that autistic people like auto-regulate or self-regulate. You probably recognize it from like the more stereotypical types of like people like flapping their hands, rocking back and forth. I mean, all it does is it feels really soothing, and a lot of times I do it without even like thinking about it, especially if I'm in like an overwhelming environment or an uncomfortable situation.
So for me, I pretty much like uh bounce bounce with my or like shake my legs whenever like whenever like I feel like comfortable. Like I feel that a lot of people do that, honestly. Um, or, really, it's just a stimming thing for me personally. Also, having to literally like move my body around, like or such as walking back and forth. Um, that's also stimming for me. Like people really never realize this that this is also stimming. Like if I have to like stand up with like my phone and like walk back and forth like in like a in a pace and in like a in like this rhythm, um that is also stimming. So I'm pretty sure like some autistic people or a lot of autistic people can really experience that, where like you have you have like you saw like you're very happy with what you like with what you like posted on social media, in this case for example, um, and then uh, when the video has been succeeding very well, I usually like pace myself back and forth. Like I walk back and forth around the home, and like it's just one of those stimming um, things for me personally when I do have this autism condition there.
Um, some of the ways that I stim, I always like play with my hands. I like to like do this. It sounds really cool. It looks really cool, and it like feels good on my fingers.
Wait, can I do the? Yeah, this is. I don't consider that as like stimming, but I feel that that he also does this as well. Like I don't really do um, that has nothing to do with like my own stimming. Like it has something to do with his own stimming. Like, it's pretty like cool, but also like it's just another part of the stimming. Um, yeah, there's pretty much a lot that he has to go through. That he can talk about stimming in the next few minutes here.
Or like kind of like making fists with my hands. I also have like double jointed thumbs. I used to do this like all the time when I was a kid. This is like one way I would stim. I would like pop my thumbs back and forth. Also like I hum a lot. If I find that I think humming is one of my more subtle stems that I've sort of like learned to do as I learned to mask when I was younger,
Maybe I do that. I'm not sure.
and that it's really
Now I don't do
soothing.
that anymore.
And then echolalia is like repeating words or phrases, and I do that all the time at home. I
Yeah, so some words or phrases that I keep on thinking about, like I always like repeat them, and it's just like another stem for me. Um, Having to think about those words and like keep on like and it keeps on like replaying that in my head, and also just even like having like the thought of that inside of my like brain. uh, I think that's pretty much one of the ways that that I do that. So
I do my best to like not do that when I'm out in public, and that's another form of masking. But when I'm at home, like it's all I do. And you can ask Nikki. Um, I'll just like come up with like random words or phrases, and it's just like it feels really good on my throat for some reason, and I can't stop saying it. I can't stop repeating it. Um, Even like singing like little snippets of songs, like the same snippet of the song. I feel like for me that's a form of stimming also. So
okay, we need to talk about this because like um that thing where he said what is let me go back. um
even like singing like little snippets of songs, like the same.
Yeah, singing little snippets of songs. So and then we're playing them over and over again. So I have this kind of like tendency to like even like replay one of the best parts of the songs. Um, I even like watched a I even watched like someone like having to replay that certain part in the music like hundreds of times, and and like it's becoming like really funny but also like annoying to some other people there, and I feel that that's one of the one of the ways we pretty much stem as autistics, like like yeah, I feel that some people when they view it look may get annoyed, while others they find it like really funny, and uh, it's pretty much a funny experience in my own personal opinion, where I have to where I hear like certain like parts of the song and then like replay that. um it's just like soothes my brain like a lot more, like it really relaxes my brain. um Whenever I replay a certain moment of the song that's um or there's like a short clip of a song that I really like, I always have it on repeat. um so yeah, that's one of the stimmings that that I probably usually have. Yeah. So yeah, let's continue on.
Same snippet of the song. I feel like for me that's a form of stimming also. So um, yeah, the way I stim, I feel like it's definitely more subtle than like some very obvious stems, but nonetheless, it helps me regulate. It helps me focus when I need to, and it's just like it's soothing, especially when I'm in those overwhelming situations. The next thing I have on this list, which I realized I forgot to include on the Instagram infographic that I made, is that I'm really, really, really clumsy. And I never knew that this was because of my autism, but when I got
That's
my
me personally.
autism diagnosis, the neuropsychologist like actually like tested me on these things. She had me like walk in a straight line, which like I couldn't do. I could not walk in a straight line with my eyes closed.
Um, Me personally, I tend to be clumsy a little bit, but not. I think not so much, but sometimes I tend to, like, as far as I remember. So let's continue.
She also had like a pen board where I had to put the pens in. And I think I did pretty good at that, but I went like really slowly, she said. And I did drop a few of those too. I'm always accidentally hurting myself, whether it's like running into counters or stubbing my toe or like running into the wall.
Oh my gosh! Like literally, like a few days ago, I stubbed my toe on like a wheel of a luggage suitcase. I stubbed my toe on like a luggage wheel, and that really hurts. Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that I'm actually like having these moments replaying in my head. Like, like this like I had a painful a little painful injury like uh a few days ago where I stubbed like my toe, having to like go and like have a rest on a bed, and I sometimes like run into like certain things I shouldn't be running into, so I may have like a tendency to pretty much run into some things where like it's pretty much like either like painful or like if I may like injure myself. So I think I always try my best and not trying to like hurt myself. I'm trying not to. There may be times where I accidentally like fall over or like slip. So yeah, I'm trying my best, guys. I'm sorry. Like I'm trying my best to literally be careful about about what I do, what I run into. So yeah. We're pretty much almost done with the video. We're like I think we're only like 10 minutes away from finishing this video. So I appreciate y'all for sticking around with this long reaction video. I know like from the outside it is pretty much dark from where I'm at, and I don't know if this light can really help me. Maybe if uh, I don't know if this light can really help me. Like, as long as y'all guys are like seeing my reactions, as long as you're pretty much uh pretty much seeing my whole full face, then that's all that matters. So yeah, we're almost at like we're almost done with the videos, like 10 minutes. I appreciate y'all for sticking around. Thank you so much. But let's go ahead. Let's watch the last 10 minutes of this video, and probably after this video, I will give my overall full conclusions of what he talked about. So yeah, let's continue on.
I always have at least like one bruise or scrape on me from accidentally hurting myself in a way that would have been easily preventable, except for the fact that I have very poor spatial awareness and bodily like spatial awareness, and I'm always spilling water on myself at least once a day. where like I'll miss my mouth just like by a little bit and it'll spill down me, which then sensory wise overwhelms me. So yeah, I'm definitely very clumsy because of my autism as well. And then a few other things that kind of like relate back to everything else on this list is I also have generalized anxiety disorder, and I've had anxiety looking back like literally as long back as I can remember. And when I was being assessed for autism, or when she like gave me like the report with like with the findings, she diagnosed me with generalized anxiety disorder, which I've already been diagnosed by like therapists and psychiatrists before. But she made it very clear that like I probably wouldn't have that anxiety if I wasn't autistic. And it made a lot of sense because I tried so many things throughout my teenage years and early adulthood where like I would do so many different things to try to ease this anxiety and try to get rid of this anxiety. And I realize now that like I'm just an anxious person. That's who I am. There's like literally nothing I can do about it because of my rigidity, because of my sensory issues, because of my need for my routine, just so many of like the aspects of my autism contribute to my anxiety. And so I realize now that instead of just like trying to get rid of the anxiety itself, the key is acceptance. It's like kind of a common theme throughout what I'm sharing today is it's like I'm an anxious person, and now I accept that my anxiety is just a part of me. It's who I am. There's not much I can do to get rid of it. There's definitely some strategies and tools I can do to ease it a little bit. But I got to stop trying to work against it and instead like work with it and just understand like it's okay. It's just anxiety. It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay, Trevor. Like, I
Another part of
fully
that, too,
accept
is,
for who
my
you are
mind-
right now.
I feel like
My mind never stops. I'm always like analyzing things in my environment. I'm always curious about things. I'm always asking Google or ChatGPT a question because I always have questions that need answered. I can't stand having a question that goes unanswered because I need to know. I need to know everything.
Okay, maybe I'm probably starting to ask Google some questions that I may have like have a tendency to feel that I am stuck on certain things, but maybe sometimes I pretty much do that on my own free time.
About everything. And if there's something I don't understand, I will spend as long as it takes to understand that thing, which helps me be smart. It helps me learn a lot about a lot of things, but then also there's a time and place for that. And sometimes it can be really distracting. And it also relates back to like me perseverating and getting stuck on certain things.
And when I'm trying to pretty much write an essay or something that is like very formative, I have to always like look up certain like synonyms and some other related words that pretty much relate to like just say what is it, an everyday word that people always use. And I want to like pretty much have like a higher tier word. I want to have like a college word where like it's pretty much acceptable to use. Hopefully you'll get what I mean. And having to pretty much understand what the college word or what a fancy word that actually even means. So yeah.
I think that that kind of covers it all. Like I said, this is a non-exhaustive list. Of course, there's many other things that are challenges or just like different ways that autism shows up for me in my life. But these are like the main things that I've been able to identify, at least at this point in my life. And so a lot of these things you wouldn't necessarily be able to tell they're even happening unless like you like really know me. And this is why it's so important that we don't judge people, period. Like obviously we shouldn't judge anyone, but like especially without even knowing someone. I personally, I consider my autism to be disabling for me because a lot of these things affect.
Also, that's very true from what he's saying. Let me go back. He's saying that we don't judge a person by a book, is what he's trying to say. So yes, it's so important in our everyday lives that we don't really judge someone by their overall looks. We pretty much only focus on how the on the character itself, and not by like and not by the looks. We only like pretty much focus on the character's personality and how they really interact with other people. That's the only things that we need to focus on, honestly, because really, us autistics, we are just human individuals, and we pretty much treat each other as normal people would. So yeah.
Period. Like obviously we shouldn't judge anyone, but like especially without even knowing someone. I personally, I consider my autism to be disabling for me because a lot of these things affect like every aspect of my life, and I need certain accommodations to be able to do certain things in my life, and I need different like workarounds to be able to do certain things in my life. It's not as easy as it might appear just by looking at me from the outside. And so
And a lot of the people may think that it's pretty much easy for that person, but in reality, us autistics, we pretty much feel that, or may pretty much find that it is very difficult to do these certain tasks, and having to go through a lot of these situations, from which I've talked about, and pretty much from what he has already stated from the last few minutes that he has been talking about his experiences of ASD Level 1.
So invisible disabilities exist, and it's not just autism. There's many others that you might not be able to tell that someone is struggling. You might not be able to tell that someone has a disability, but like just because you can't see it or just because you don't understand it doesn't mean that it's not real. And also
Very
too,
true.
like there's enough space in the autism community for all of us to speak out about our experiences, to share about our experiences, but also to like have an understanding of ourselves. I don't believe in gatekeeping at all.
Yeah, I pretty much don't really like to pretty much gatekeep like my own experiences. I like for like others, like I want to be able to share others my own experiences, and to be able to pretty much like expose myself to a lot of these other people. This is why I've been like starting this series, because I just want to be able to pretty much create a new type of content that I've really have never done before. And so I've been talking about like mental health. I've been talking about my autism condition. I've been talking about my gay-related experiences on here, and having to share them out to y'all guys publicly, and to be able to heavily resonate some of the things that I currently talk about. Um, so so I'm really glad to be able to pretty much be free and to truly express myself, how I actually feel, how I actually perceive certain things that are around me in this world. So yeah, and to be able to connect with other communities that are like-minded individuals. Um, there's like so many opportunities out there. So, and I'm really glad I've pretty much started this year talking about my own.
And there's enough space.
Oh, sorry. There was something going on, so I'm sorry, but I'll just keep it in. So yeah, sorry about that. There was a little bit of a noise in the background.
For all the 3 levels of support needs in the autism community. I'm not saying, like, I don't want it to sound like I'm like being a victim here. Like I'm definitely not a victim to my circumstances. Every day I'm finding ways to improve myself, to improve my life. But the reality is that there's a lot of things that are just really challenging for me. I also recognize there's people on the autism spectrum who have many more challenges than I personally have. And that is just as valid, and that doesn't mean that my challenges aren't valid either.
And I just want to say that while I do have like some of the challenges that I either have a relation to, I feel that probably some of the points that he like even like talks about here, some of those I don't have, and that's really like my own autism condition. Like I feel like some certain things that that autistics do not actually really feel from my own perspective. A lot. I feel that a lot of those autistics can actually feel different things, certain things that really comforts them. So pretty much autism can be certain shapes and sizes, and that's why autism is pretty much just like a spectrum. Like we can be like pretty much everything. Honestly, we can feel like a lot of these certain smells, or certain or like hear certain audio that really irritates the person. So it's and it's pretty crazy that a lot of these people in the community have these different sensory things, different types of stimming. Like it's really crazy.
It just means that we need different amounts of support. We need different types of support. But we both need that support, and we both need those accommodations. And it might look different, but both are just as valid. And one more point I want to make is that like my support needs fluctuate. As you could infer based on like what I shared here, some days like I can get by just fine. Especially because usually like the only place I go during the day other than home is like to the gym, which is part of my routine. Those are days where I can definitely check things off my to-do list, and I can probably get more done than I even had anticipated. But then there's also those days where I need help with certain things, where I don't have that ability to cook for myself. So like even get out of bed some mornings. And so depending on like how much capacity I have, depending on like my emotional state that day, depending on like what else I have going on in my life, like outside stressors, yeah, my support needs fluctuate too. But I think overall, compared to other people on the autism spectrum, I have lower support needs, and I think that's a fitting diagnosis for myself. But don't get confused. Low support needs autism doesn't mean no support needs, and it doesn't mean neurotypical. It doesn't mean that everyone has these challenges, so stop complaining about it, or everyone struggles in life, so
And I should also mention this too, that just because we have like low support needs when it comes to ASD level 1 does not mean, as he said, doesn't mean that we have no support needs. Like actually we do still have like some needs that that need to be met, and as I've said, low support autism or low support needs autism means that sometimes we may need help on some certain things, but often at times, or for the majority of the time, we don't need help on certain things. Like we can be independent of certain things here.
Just push through it. That doesn't work for me. I tried that for most of my life, and it only led me to feeling suicidal, depressed, burnt out, even more anxious than I already was. It led to me hating myself, and that's not the paradigm that I exist in anymore. So I hope that this could either have been like a relatable video for you, or maybe an educational video for you. And if any of these like sparked your interest, please definitely learn more. Like I said, I'm not a medical professional, and I don't want this video to be used for you to diagnose others or to diagnose yourself, because that would definitely be irresponsible of me. But maybe this is the catalyst or the inspiration for you to educate yourself a little bit further, and then maybe even seek out a medical professional to be assessed if that's something you think would be fitting for you, or if it just makes you want to understand autism more. There's always room for more education and more awareness, and definitely more acceptance. So thank you for watching this video.
All right, so that's his whole real experience of living with ASD level 1. I pretty much enjoyed a lot of these points that he has talked about, and even had some relation from the points that he talked about, considering that I've pretty much have had these past experiences of these certain moments in my own past experiences of living with autism. And I feel that I have pretty much shared some of my experiences on here. I've made videos previously about some certain things that I am like really struggling on. You know, there's a lot of like there's pretty much some stimming that I've talked about. There's also like some noises that I've pretty much been irritating, and there were also some social conversations, situations that I was also pretty much struggling as well as to what he has talked about in the video. I feel that I feel that living with ASD level 1 is pretty like neutral for me personally, but also I may have a tendency to feel like a struggle when it comes to like living with ASD level 1. So so yeah, I pretty much already talked about these certain points in this video right here, and I'll go give it a like on this video here. but yeah, that was a really informative video, and pretty much there are some points that I heavily resonate with, and hopefully a lot of people can really even relate to these points, and even have like hopefully people really gained insight on the things that he talked about. There were pretty much a lot of comments here that pretty much relate to this video, and I pretty much heavily appreciate those that have commented on some relation to a person that has autism, or an individual that has autism. I appreciate those comments that they have left there and below. So yeah, that is my reaction to Trevor Carroll's most popular video, Living with Autism Level 1. As of now is 243,701 views. That is his most popular video, and also has 14k likes. So yeah, that is my whole reaction video on this. I hope y'all guys enjoyed this reaction video. Sorry if it like takes up much on your day. I'm sorry about that, but it's pretty much a longer video, and I believe that he made some really factual statements. I believe that he made some really good points, and to be able to explain in full detail of what his struggles were, what are his experiences in terms of his social conversations, his stimming, his like sensory overload. I feel that was worth hearing, and also worth hearing about when it comes to talking about his own experiences there. So I hope y'all guys have enjoyed my reaction video. If you did, be sure to give it a like, comment, and subscribe for more videos like this. And I'll see you guys next Wednesday. Bye guys.